खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह जी। स्वागत है जी आनू वैलकम जी ब्रेक तो बाद सारिया संगतां दा। सो ब्रेक तो पहला असीं तुहाडे लई लैके आए सी कुछ नैशनल ते कुछ इंटरनेशनल न्यूज़। सो हुण समा हो गया जी अज दे कुछ खास गैस्ट दे नाल मुलाकात करवाउण दा। सो उस तो पहला एक छोटी जी असीं अनाउंसमेंट करना चाहुंदे हां कि जो भाई बलविंदर सिंह जी रंगीला जो हर साल की तरह इस साल भी उन्हां दा पूरा जथे वालों एक समूहिक विआह किए जाते बच्ची जो गरीब बच्चे बच्चियां दे जो अपना जो कह सकते हैं कि घरां दे जिवें गरीबी है बहुत ज़्यादा पंजाब दे विच जां इंडिया दे विच कह सकते हैं तो उस गरीबी की हालत विच जो बच्चियां दे विआह नहीं कर सकते उन्हां दी हैल्प वास्ते उन्हां दी मदद वास्ते भाई साहब जी एक उन्होंने एक बीड़ा चक्या कि गरीब बच्चियां दे विआह करने ने। सो समूहिक रूप दे विच जिवें लगभग 20 तो लैके 25 जो बच्चे बच्चियां दे जो उत्थे विआह हुंदे ने। सो कल सिख चैनल ते भी पूरा दिन लाइव भी चलना उत्थों सारा दिन समागम चलना तो भाई बलविंदर सिंह जी रंगीला ते उन्हां दे पूरे जथे वालों सारा ही प्रबंध किया जाता बच्चियां दे वास्ते जो जिन्ना भी विआहां दे उत्ते जो भी खर्च हुंदा वो सारा हर बच्ची दे विआह दे उत्ते इंडिविजुअली जिद्दां लगभग 20 तो लैके 25 जोड़े हुंदे आ तो उन्होंने दे विआह दे उत्ते पूरा खर्च किया जाता तो असी पूरी सिख चैनल की टीम वालों तो पूरी यूके की संगतां वालों भाई बलविंदर सिंह जी रंगीला होना असी मुबारकबाद भी कहने कि वो वधाई के पात्र ने कि वो इन्ना पुण्य वाला काम कर रहे हैं कि गरीब बच्चे बच्चियां दे जो विआह कर रहे हैं।
Absolutely. So such a big act of seva here from by Gurwinder Singh Rangila, who are going to sort of organise a load of marriages for people from poorer families, for those younger girls. So they're going to organise the whole event, and we will be showing live coverage of that on Sikh Channel. So make sure you do watch out for that. But absolutely, कितनी बड़ी गल हैगी है जो कितने गरीब कर दिया कुड़ियां नू है ना उन्होंने कितना help कर दिया. All the organisation will be doing all the decoration, all the second and there all the gifts and everything, so it's fantastic.
बिल्कुल वो जिवें दसते सी ना साडे को आई सी लास्ट मंथ ते दसते सी कि बच्चियां दे वास्ते कन्नां वास्ते जो पाउंदे कन्नां दे कुड़ियां पाउंदियां उन्हां वास्ते ते दूसरा उन्हां दे कपड़े ते प्लस उन्हां दा थोड़ा बहुता जिन्ना बेसिक्स नीड हुंदी है घरां दे विच जरूरत दा समान वो सारा उन्हां नूं दित्ता।
So it's not just सिर्फ पैसे दी गल भी नहीं है, सारा स्ट्रेस भी हो लै रहे है ना, सारा जेह्ड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दे सारा कुछ जेह्ड़ा दिमाग वाला काम हुंदा they're doing all of that.
बिल्कुल जी घर च एक विआह करना होए ते किन्नी टेंशन हुंदी है ना ते 20-25 विआह करने इकट्ठे ते कीर्तन दरबार भी सजाया जाता है सारे समागम दे विच हर साल की तरह इस साल भी काफ़ी पूरे पंजाब दे विचों नामी ग्रामी जथे भी पहुँच रहे हैं। सो इस वेले पूरे जथे जो उत्थे पहुँचे ने पूरा तैयारियां चल रही ने इस वेले ते हुण समा हो गया जी अज दे खास गेस्ट दे नाल मुलाकात भी करवानी है।
Just before the guest we will be taking a call actually from Rangila ji, so let's see what they have to say.
बिल्कुल जी असीं उन्हां नूं कॉल ते भी लैने आ ते थोड़ी जी उन्हां तो जानकारी लैने कि समागम दी किन्नियां कि तैयारियां मुकम्मल हो चुकियां। सो गलबात करदे हां। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह जी।
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह।
भाई साहब जी आप जी का स्वागत है जी ब्रेकफास्ट शो दे विच। सो पहला कुछ टैक्नीकल फॉल्ट करके लाइन कट हो गई सी। सो असीं पुछना चाहुंदे हां कि इस वेले समागम दियां किन्नियां कि तैयारियां हो चुकियां ते किन्नियां क रहिंदियां ने।
एक्चुअली वीर जी हुणे ही अद्धा क घंटा पहला ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਿਆਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਤੇ ਸਫਲਤਾ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਭੋਗ ਪਏ ਨੇ
ਜੀ
ਔਰ ਨਾਲ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸੰਚਾਰ ਵੀ ਹੋਇਆ। ਪੰਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਸਰਪਾਉ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ
ਜੀ
ਔਰ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ 9 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਰੰਭ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਕਥਾ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਹ ਵੀ ਚੱਲੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਿੰਦੀ ਲੱਗਣੀ ਹੈ 26 ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਲੜਕੀ ਦਾ ਨਿਕਾਹ ਵੀ ਹੈ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ।
ਉਹ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਪੰਡਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵਰਤ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ
ਜੀ
ਔਰ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਹੁਣ ਲੰਗਰ ਛਕਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਸ਼ਾਮੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ 6 ਵਜੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ 7 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 9 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਿੰਦੀ ਲੱਗੇਗੀ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮਹਿੰਦੀ ਲੱਗਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਿਊਡਲ ਚਾਹ ਕੌਫੀ ਕੋਲਡ ਡਰਿੰਕ ਚਾਟ ਗੋਲ ਗੱਫੇ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣੇ ਹੀ ਨੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵੀ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਵਰਤਣਗੇ ਸੁਹਾਗ ਦੇ ਗੀਤ ਵੀ ਗਾਏ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ।
ਸੋ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪੂਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਾਮੀ ਗ੍ਰਾਮੀ ਕੀਰਤਨੀ ਜਥੇ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਵਿਆਹਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੋਂ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਵੀ ਸਜਾਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਇਸ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਜਥੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਥਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਈ ਜੋਗਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਰਿਆੜ, ਭਾਈ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੋਢੀ, ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਚਰਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਚੀਆ, ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ਮਲੇ ਵਾਲੇ, ਭਾਈ ਕਵਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਸਾਗੀ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ
ਜੀ,
ਦਾਸ ਦਾ ਬੇਟਾ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਸੇਵਕ ਸਿੰਘ ਰੰਗੀਲਾ, ਭਾਈ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਰਾਗੀ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ
ਜੀ,
ਅਮਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਢਾਡੀ ਜਥਾ, ਭਾਈ ਓਮਕਾਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਉन्ने ਵਾਲੇ, ਭਾਈ ਜਸਪੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਪੌਂਟਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਾਲੇ,
ਜੀ,
ਭਾਈ ਜਸਕਰਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਪਟਿਆਲੇ ਵਾਲੇ, ਬੀਬੀ ਹਰਿੰਦਰ ਕੌਰ ਪਠਾਨਕੋਟ ਵਾਲੇ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੰਤ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਸ਼ ਨੇ, ਸੰਤ ਬਾਬਾ ਲਾਭ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਕਾਰਸੇ ਵਾਲੇ,
ਜੀ,
ਬਾਬਾ ਲਖਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਬਾਬਾ ਰਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਬਾਬਾ ਪ੍ਰਿਤਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ,
ਜੀ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ
ਇਹ ਜਿਤਨੇ ਵੀ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਸ਼ ਨੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ।
ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਟੀਮ ਤੇ ਯੂਕੇ ਭਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਮੂਹ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਪੁੰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਗਰੀਬ ਬੱਚੇ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮੂਹਿਕ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਹਰ ਸਾਲ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ 'ਚ ਰਹੋ ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗਰੀਬ ਬੱਚੇ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰਫਤਿਹ ਸਾਂਝ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ। ਸੋ ਸੰਤੋ ਇਹ ਸਨ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਭਾਈ ਬਲਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਰੰਗੀਲਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਰਚਿਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਭਗ 20 ਤੋਂ 25 ਜੋੜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਦਾ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਿ ਅਮਰਦੀਪ, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਸਮਟਾਈਮ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਬੱਚੇ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਕੀਤਿਆਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇਵੇਂ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਹੈ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਇਵੇਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਆ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ, ਸੋ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲਸ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਵਾਕਈ ਮਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਜਨਮ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਨਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, so when I first heard about the story of our guests, I was actually really inspired. I really wanted to just know more about how you can sort of transform from a non-Sikh to being a Sikh. When ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ, we're used to growing up to a certain lifestyle. We hear a lot of things. We always go to the Gurdwara, but to be inspired, but to make that transformation is quite difficult. So first of all, we introduce everybody here to Ken and Michelle, to Suvraj Singh and Suraj Singh as well. So ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਫਾਸਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ। ਤੇ ਵਾਕਿਆ ਜੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨੌਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੀ, ਦੂਸਰੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਦਾ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸੰਗਤ ਦਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਸ ਜੋੜੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੂਰਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਤਿਆਰੀ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਤੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਦਾ ਪਾਨ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਤਿਆਰ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਕੈਨ ਐਂਡ ਮਿਸ਼ੈਲ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਵੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, ਹਰਸਿਮਰਨਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੇ ਗਗਨਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ। So most welcome to
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
So first of all, I mean, tell us how you came into Sikhi. The first right-up question, how did you actually get into Sikhi?
For me, I guess from just being a small child, I always had a very profound faith in God. And along with that love and faith came a healthy, curiosity. And there was a lot of questions that even into my adult life, I just never really got the answers to. And I developed a relationship with a Sikh family, and I was in the Gurdwara with them one day, and I overheard a Gurmukh speaking to some youths, and the things that I heard him say absolutely touched my heart. And specifically, he said that you can meet God in this life while you're alive. In fact, that's the purpose of this human life. Gobind milan kiye teri bariya, right? And that absolutely shocked me. I had never even, had that concept in my mind before. So it was absolutely the turning point for me. And I knew at that moment that if that was a possibility, then I absolutely had to do everything I could to seek that out. So that's really how it got started for me.
So in terms of understanding the Gurbani, and you said you heard someone speaking about Gurbani and that's how you inspired. I mean, how do you navigate around the language barrier and how do you understand it all?
It's a challenge because we're both English speaking, and the programs in the Gurdwara are typically in Punjabi, obviously with Gurmukhi from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but there's a lot of resources available. We typically read Gurbani in English, but you know we're working on reading it in Gurmukhi as well. So there's a lot of resources online. You know, everybody has an app on their phone now, and you have the different languages there.
And nowadays, sort of in Gurdwara, you do see projectors, you see projection screens, you see a lot of translations as well, and there are a lot of people that do katha in English as well. So there's a lot out there, isn't it?
There is, and a lot of it as well is you know, kind of finding the right sangat. Who, when you do have difficulty in understanding something, they can explain it to you, but explain it to you in exactly the way that, you know, the gurus and all the writers of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji meant it. So you're getting the proper meaning from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But also the other part of it is, you know, we get to go to divans, and even though we don't necessarily get 100% of it, you know, really Waheguru is inspiring us. He's giving us that message inside. So I may not be able to express it back to you, but I know that I'm getting that understanding because it's coming from the mouth of Waheguru himself. So we get the learnings that way. So we're very blessed, obviously, in that way.
I just want to, I'll call you Harsimranjeet Singh.
Sure.
Yeah. And how do you compare before and after Amritapan?
So life before was, you know, I would say very much eat, drink, and be merry. I mean, we didn't know truly that it was possible to meet God, and as Michelle was saying, it's a life-changing thing. Now, our life is very much centered around Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's centered around Sikhi. So our relationships have changed. You know, it's very sangat-based. You know, we do seva in the Gurdwara. We help people, you know, do Simran. We do Simran ourselves in sangat. So it's become very much centered around Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and, you know, trying to live that life of Gurmat. Whereas before, it was very much around, you know, enjoying life, just trying to enjoy it, you know, trying to kind of get through every day. But now it's really more focused around what the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji is and applying them in our lives.
So if we talk about Simran, you mentioned that Simran, it's quite dear to your heart, isn't it? It really becomes a part of you. Did you sort of take to Simran immediately? Because it's more about the spirituality, I guess. It's more about the calming, the soothing effects of Simran. Is that something that instantly sort of got to you guys?
To be honest, no. And the reason for that for me personally was because I had mentioned that I didn't know I could meet God before, and that was so profound to me. Wow. I think for the first 5 or 6 years of my time on this path, I was most interested in katha. I was just fascinated that I just wanted to learn everything that I could. So to be honest, I spent a lot of time you know, absorbing all of the katha, asking a lot of questions, but not actually doing the work. And the sangat that I was in, I saw people progressing. They were having a lot of experiences, and of course I wasn't, because I wasn't doing any of the effort.
And how did that make you sort of feel?
Well, of course, you know, you want it for yourself. And then of course it was a wake-up call to say, well, it's my own fault, I know better. So once you start doing the Simran, to be very, very honest, it's not easy. So the mind, you know, for me it was like 30-something years of total out of control. I didn't have any control of my mind. It's nothing but fortne after fortne, just thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. And we know that we do Simran to kill the thoughts, right? In order to cross this Bhav Sagar, we need to kill the thoughts. Vichar mare thare thare. So when you first start, it's absolutely difficult. It doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere. And I say that from my own experience. But you know, you don't give up, because you know that that is the bachan of Guru, right? You have to do Simran. So I kept going with it. It did get easier. So as the thoughts come down, it gets more enjoyable. And now I can say that I love to do the Simran. I seek out times in the day where I can just dedicate the time to that. So that's...
Would you say that it does become a part of your lifestyle? It becomes a part of you that you actually can't live without doing it?
100%. 100%. And it's not just the times that you dedicate where you sit quietly and close your eyes and do it. It has to be a part of your whole day. when you're at work. You have to, you know, and our goal obviously is 24/7 with every breath. We're supposed to remember Waheguru. So, you know, we're working on it. But yes, for sure, all day.
So are you learning Punjabi as well? Gurmukhi and Punjabi?
We are, yeah. I can't say we're very good at it yet, but yes.
No, but we can hear the few words that you're saying. And yeah, they're great.
And we take Santhia class and that sort of thing, so we're trying, but yeah.
So after this experience that you've had with Simran, I mean, would you personally say there's a right and wrong way of doing Simran?
So, you know, this is the beauty of Sikhi, right? We have Guru Granth Sahib Ji to guide us. And in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it tells us exactly how to do Simran.
Yeah.
And it gives us all the different techniques that are given. And it also gives us, you know, the nishani, the checkpoints. So when you have some kind of an experience, for example, when you do Simran, you should be able to relate it back to what, you know, Guruji is telling us. And conversely, if you have an experience and you go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji and you can't find it there, then that's a bit of a wake up. Like, you know, is our mind in Harchandori? You know, is it Migdrishna? So Guru will give us all that guidance. And sometimes, you know, for us, it may be a little hard to find it. So, you know, we need to study it hard. We need to, you know, sit with the Gurmukh to help us find it because we don't necessarily have the language ability. But you know, through coming to Sangat and being in the Sangat where you learn this, if you're not sure, you can sit with a teacher, someone to guide you and to show you. Okay, this is what Gurbani says, you know, when you do this, when you do Saskras, this is what you can expect to happen. When you do Rom, this is what you can expect to happen. Or if something happened and you're wondering about it, you had a nice, pleasant experience, then it might be, okay, that's because your mind was kind of pulled in the wrong place and it's not what's in Gurbani. So absolutely, it gives us the perfect guidance on how to do this.
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੇ ਸਵਰਾਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੈਨਨ ਮਿਸ਼ੈਲ ਨੂੰ
I met Ken, I think it was about 2 years ago. Ken was over to do some seva at the Gurdwara Sahib in Slough, Guru Manya Gurdwara. That opened just in December last year, so it's been less than a year. But I think, you know, the key thing about this Gurdwara Sahib, there's two really key principles. We have the first key principle is that nobody at the Gurdwara Sahib is paid. It's entirely run by volunteers. And that is quite unique in this day and age as well. We're all very busy with our lives and things. But everybody at the Gurdwara Sahib, they're all volunteers. They've all got jobs in their normal daily lives. There's doctors, lawyers, solicitors. But they all take time out to for seva and help run the Gurdwara. And that's something, you know, in this day and age, is quite unique. We're all very busy.
Just finding the time itself.
Exactly.
I mean,
we know how, you know, how things sometimes end up in other Gurdwara Sahibs, but it's really unique here that everything's run totally by seva. And the other key principle at the Gurdwara, and this is something we've all kind of really been eager to push, is that there's no charges for anything. So whatever it is, if you want a Sukhmani Sahib part done, an Akhand part Sahib, whatever the things, all our classes, everything's totally free of charge. And again, you know, in this day and age, we know everyone has costs and things, but all of that seva comes from the Sangat. And that's really unique, and I think
it is unique. You're
that's
right.
key for us as well.
Definitely.
And you know, one condition we do have though is that if you do book a Sukhmani Sahib or you want to have an Akhand part, we ask the families, please come and listen, because it's the Gurbani that's going to change your life. You know, just to have part going on, you've paid for it, and you know the party's doing the part, and just the walls. That's not what
it becomes a formality then.
Exactly.
Doesn't it? It just becomes
so at this Gurdwara Sahib, everything's free of charge. But what we do ask is, Abindi, please make sure you come and listen, because that's what's going to change your life.
ਭਾਜੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੈਨਨ ਮਿਸ਼ੈਲ ਤੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਅਸਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਏ ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਜੋ ਬੱਚੇ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਭਟਕਦੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ
what we ask everyone to do is just come and visit us. This Gurdwara is very, very different. It's not the kind of same experience you get at a lot of other Gurdwara that we've seen at the moment. So if you come and visit us, you'll see and you'll experience that. And let me give you an example of that. So we have on the weekends, we have on Sunday we have classes running. So we have something like 400 children who do Punjabi class. Again, we run all that free of charge. We've got a Sikh history course that runs over 2 years. They graduated last year. There was a big exhibition. They all got involved in kind of helping with that. So just participating.
Yeah.
We don't ask everyone to come and start. I know Ken and Michelle have talked about 14, 15 hours of Simran every day, which is just come in, sit there, do 5 minutes, just come and be part of the Sangat.
Thank you so much, Paji. ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਵਾਸਤੇ
ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਜੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੜੀ ਡੇਲੀ ਰੂਟੀਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ 5 ਤੋਂ 7 ਸਿਮਰਨ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਨ ਵਿੱਚ 2 ਵਾਰੀ ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ
ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ
ਜਿਵੇਂ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਫ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠਾਂਗੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਸੁਣਾਂਗੇ that will change automatically ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ you can't do nothing ਜੋ ਕਿ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰ ਹੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ so that's the best way come to Guru listen to Gurbani.
So we mentioned about Seva, you mentioned that that's how you met Ken and Michelle. So do you get the chance to do a lot of Seva? Do you make sure that you implement that into your lives at the moment?
I think we talked a little bit about how Simran has changed our life, how our lifestyle is different. Aside from the worldly duties that we all have to participate in, like going to work and taking care of family and so on, I can say with all sincerity, 100% of the balance of that is with Sangat and in doing Seva. So, whether it's at the Gurdwara doing Langar Seva or, I guess the next point is very key. Gurbani says,
ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ ਸੋ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦਾ ਸੋ ਇਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਣੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਕਲਿੱਪ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵਾਕਿਆ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੁੜ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਵਾਕਿਆ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਾਵਰਫੁਲ ਇੱਕ ਅਜਿਹੀ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਣ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਜੋ ਲਾਈਫ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੋਚ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ again it's so inspiring it's so fantastic to see that Simran can change someone's life from a non-Sikh background to be just sort of so inspired that you want to change how you live. So there we have it. So make sure you don't miss that tomorrow 8 p.m. right here on the Sikh Channel. There will be a pre-interview as well, so we get to hear more from Ken and Michelle, more about their story just before we show the documentary. So do not miss that.
ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਮੀ 8 ਵਜੇ ਜੋ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਹੋਣੀ ਆ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੱਲ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਸੋ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ ਕੱਲ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ 8 ਵਜੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਿਠਾ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਆ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਆ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਧੰਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਆ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਆ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਸਾਗਰ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਹੋਰ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਉਸ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਿਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਇੰਸਪਾਇਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਪਰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੋੜਨ ਦੀ
Ji, bilkul. So do watch it with the whole family. See if you can get those messages across to your own children or even to yourselves. It's not specific to anybody. But as we're talking about Simran, so without giving too much away from the documentary, I mean, can you give us some specific examples of how Simran has actually changed your life and what you've changed in yourselves?
So I would say Simran has changed pretty much every aspect of our lives. We were saying before life was about being entertained and eat, drink, and be merry. But Simran kind of puts you on a very different path. And it starts with, a commitment, really. Because when you learn the purpose of your life, and then you learn what you need to do in order to achieve that purpose, it requires a commitment. And in my case, and in our own case, it went from very much about you know, waking up in the morning, just going to work, coming home, watching TV, that sort of thing, to now there's kind of a discipline associated with it. There's a routine. So we'll wake up early in the morning and do Simran, and you know, do Nitnem. Then throughout the day we're working on remembering God. When we go to bed at night, you know, we do Simran. It's very much around that. So the change is really more about, you know, being lined up with what Guru Granth Sahib Ji tells us about how to live our lives, and instead of just, you know, focusing on being entertained and you know, going from one worry to another worry to you know, the different kinds of sadness, just, you know, living a life that's more full and more complete and in line with Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So it's affected every part of our lives, because, you know, when we're not working, because we have to work, or we're not kind of doing those worldly duties, some way in our lives we're doing Simran, whether it's the seva, you know, to help others do it, or just sitting in and doing it ourselves, or you know, going to events, you know, in Canada and the U.S., because that's where we live, where there's Simran going on. So it very much is a huge part of our lives.
Yeah, but you know, when you think back on your life now, does it feel weird to you, or do you think, oh, do you know what, I was so empty then? Or, I mean, how does it make you feel when you think about your old life? Because it's so different now, of course.
I would say for me, when I think back on the first, you know, 30 whatever number of years it was, it makes me very sad. Yeah. Because it was, I view it as being wasteful. And like I said, the day that I heard that I could meet God while I was alive, aside from the, I mean, the shock and the joy of that, even the concept, together with that was this, you know, profound, I don't know whether it was sadness or I was mad, but like, oh my gosh, all these years, and, you know, nobody told me this. Yeah. So, yeah, to answer the question, when I look back, I'm very disappointed and sad that you know, was wasted. Yeah. And that inspires us to want to make sure that other people don't have to go through that. Because we're all human beings, it's all our purpose. If it's something that we've had the kirpa of getting to have this knowledge, then, you know, any person that I see on the street, I would want it for them too.
Yeah, but we were talking about, so just before the break, we were talking about seva and how much you do of it. So how do you get to implement that into your lives? How much seva do you actually get to do?
So I mean, there's different sorts of seva, right? So we were talking a little bit about spending time in Sangat, doing, you know, I do a lot of langar seva. Gurbani tells us, Aap jape avanam japavo, so we spend a lot of time talking to other people about the importance of doing Simran. So we participate in Simran programs and camps, so to speak. And so there's a lot of seva that goes along with, you know, preparing that for the Sangat, whether it's cleaning the Divan hall or scrubbing the bathrooms, all that kind of seva. That's seva of the body. Yeah. But we also know that we have a duty to do seva of Waheguru. So, you know, we need to do the Simran, and so that's the other kind of seva. So 100% of our free time, as I was saying earlier, that's not doing our worldly duties. Yeah. It's either doing one of those two sevas and doing them at the same time too. Yeah.
As you said, Aap Japo Avra Naam Japo. So are you trying to bring more people? Do you meet personally to all your friend circle, your previous friendship circle? So are you trying to bring more people in?
You know, all you can do is try. Yeah. I can say in my case, it hasn't been very successful. You know, I'd like to think it's not my fault. I don't know that it's because of the way that I'm trying to get the message across. I think that in reality, you have to have the spark inside of you, or the desire for, or the longing for something more. And if somebody has that, I haven't seen any reason that you don't have to be Punjabi, you don't have to be of any particular culture or faith. Anybody that has that little longing within them when they hear this, you know.
Yeah. But do you feel that the need, you know, because you've been so inspired by it, do you feel the need to create that spark in people? I mean, do you get really passionate when you're sort of talking about Sikhi and trying to explain it? How does it make you feel?
Very passionate about it. I mean, you know, we love it. Yeah. It's because it's not just something you do. It's something you try to live. So you incorporate it in your life. But sometimes it is a little difficult. I mean, people often wonder, you know, why the change, what's different about you, you know, why do you look like this, you know, why do you have a beard?
Well, mentioning that, did you have a lot of sort of setback from that? I mean, the way you've changed your look.
I wouldn't say there was a lot of setback. I mean, in my own case, I just, you know, with Guru's Kripa, I just kind of made a decision. This is the way I want it to be. Lots of people would ask me, you know, why you're like this. A lot of people don't really get it, you know. They just kind of assume that, you know, you're a hippie or something, and it's very hard for them to, you know, to make the connection. And in some cases, you know, if you try to even relate it back to your experience or back to Gurbani, you know, people that haven't had that exposure, quite often they're dismissive because they look at a different grunt or a different text and they say, this is not what ours teaches us, so I'm not really interested in what you have to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just kind of look at it as, you know, they're not ready. Right?
Yeah,
they're not ready to hear the message. When they're ready, Waheguru will inspire them and they'll get it. So it's not something I lose any sleep over. We just kind of, it's our own journey. We just try to move forward ourselves. And if we can help others in some way, that's a bonus, really. But it's really Waheguru that's doing the helping. We shouldn't, we shouldn't forget that. He's just using us. We're just the instruments. It's Waheguru that's doing the inspiring. It's Waheguru that's bringing people on the path. So.
Suvraj Singh ji ਭਾਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਲੋਹ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਾਨਿਓ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਡੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਕੋਰਸਸ ਵੀ ਕਰਵਾਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਕਈ ਅਜਿਹੇ ਕੋਰਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੇ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਆਫ ਕਾਸਟ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਗਏ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦਾ ਸਕੇਜੂਲ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਨਵੇਂ ਉਪਰਾਲੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਸੋ in the classes we run, so I mentioned the Punjabi class. We've got nearly 400 kids now, all learning Punjabi on Sunday mornings. As important as Punjabi is, we know that learning Punjabi doesn't make you a Sikh. So along with Punjabi, we run a Sikh history course. And that Sikh history course is really vital for this Gurdwara. So, you know, one of the sayings we've heard a lot of the times is, if we forget our history, we won't have any future. And those civilizations that thrive are the ones that remember their history. So for us, that course and making sure the kids really enjoy researching their own history is really key and vital. And I think that's kept a lot of, you know, the kids very interested in coming to the Gurdwara and then partaking in Simran and other seva. So
did you get a lot of children coming to these history classes?
Yeah, we've got, I think, almost half the kids who come to do Punjabi, we put them on to Sikh history and then they rotate week on week. So we've almost got nearly 400 kids. So one week is 200, another week is 200. So that's been really good and really encouraging. The other thing we've done, and this is more for the wider community, so we have, it's called the Refresh Skills Training Centre. It's a certified City and Guilds college, so it's kind of at a very high standard. We offer media skills courses from that centre and construction skills courses, and that's open to the whole community. We've had people from, you know, almost every type of background and community, and that's all free of charge. These courses, if you went out to a local college they cost thousands of pounds. We're offering them free, but free for those people who need them and who really want to kind of progress and make some effort in life. And that's kind of our creep as people. If you want to make effort, be it in Simran, in your studies, in trying to get a job, we will fully support you, whatever's required. And that's our kind of key message as well. So if you want to do Bhagati, you want to do Simran, that's kind of, for us, that's the message of Sikhi and Guru Nanak. If you want to do that, please come to the Gurdwara Sahib. It is for you. This is what the Gurdwara Sahib is for.
So is that
everything will be provided? That's kind of, and that's our ethos, and that's running through all the courses and all the kind of camps and things we do. We've had people from, there's Argentina, there's a West Indian family came from America last year. They had actually a bad experience at another Gurdwara Sahib. They came in, it really kind of brought them back onto the path almost. We've had people, you know, a lot of Western Sikhs and things come as well. So, you know, it's fantastic to see, even in just 1 year, what a kind of, you know, encouraging response we've had and how things are kind of growing.
So is that where sort of the ideas, because of this refresh centre, is that where the ideas come from to make this documentary itself and to actually, you know, make it sort of viral and to show people about what inspiring stories?
Well, I think, you know, it's about, with the refresh centre, there's two, so it's obviously for the community. Anyone who wants to learn, you're not kind of bound to do things, only kind of seek videos or anything else. But at the end of the day, we are creating an expertise and a skill in the community. We know the importance of media going forward, like what the impact the channels have had. And if we don't have people learning these skills, you know, we won't be able to market and kind of show people, you know, what the Sikh community is doing, what the Gurdwara Sahib is doing. So it's an important skill to learn.
ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਰਸਿਸ ਕਰਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਫ੍ਰੀ ਕਲਾਸਾਂ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ? ਜੋ ਸਾਰਾ ਇਕਵਿਪਮੈਂਟ ਲਿਆਉਣਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਇਕਵਿਪਮੈਂਟ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ, ਇੱਕ ਕੈਮਰਾ ਲਿਆਉਣਾ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਵੱਲੋਂ?
Saviji, we are so lucky. The Sangat is so generous. Everything we get is all from donations. Everything that comes to the Golak, everything is all used on Sangat. We do not build up any bank balances. We're not here trying to collect money or open more kind of buildings and things. Our whole things, everything goes back into the Sangat. And it's because people know we don't charge anything. I think they understand it's not being run as a business. It's being run for, when you see the result of where you put your money, then you very freely give it. So I know so many people who said, they happily give because they see the fruit of that money.
Absolutely. So if we talk more about the video release itself, so tomorrow, the big day where everyone can watch this documentary that you're doing, what can viewers expect from this documentary? What can we expect to see and find out about you?
We don't want to give away too much because we want to make sure But it really is more of our own personal story about, you know, getting into Sikhi, kind of comparing it with life before and what life is like now, of course. And sort of wrapped in with that as well was our Anand, which happened, and it's folded into the documentary as well. So in a little bit of a condensed version, because it's only 30 minutes documentary. But it's really more about our story, and the idea behind it is, you know, it's Wahguru that does the inspiring of people. It's Wahguru that brings people on the path. If there's some way that, you know, through a tool like this that we can inspire people in a little bit, you know, it's Wahguru doing the inspiration, but maybe it'll inspire someone else to, you know, come to Guru Manyo Granth, start to do Simran, you know, start to do some of the other things that are there, and get the same joy and the same love that we've experienced by, you know.
Yeah. How was the experience, though, generally, making a documentary, being in front of the camera, talking so personally about yourself? I mean, it's quite a big thing to do. How was the whole experience for you?
I'm not really a public speaker, so to speak. Okay. So, you know, there's a level of discomfort with that.
Yeah.
But again, and we keep repeating it, the idea that there's people out there that don't know that that their purpose is to meet Wahguru, that's a very sad fact. So whatever it takes, you know, our job is to talk about that, to get people to do Simran. So, you know, talking in front of a camera may not be comfortable, but it's no issue. We're more than happy to do it. I mean, the Anand Cottage was recorded. We didn't know at the time that it would be, you know, it would become a documentary. That wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
You know, Wahguru knew, but we didn't know. So sure, if taking some snippets of that and sharing it with the world is helpful, to have people understand what is the Anand Cottage actually mean, and B, that the story about these two individuals help inspire them, then Wahguru's Kirpa, that's fine.
But do you find that when you do talk about yourselves, when you talk together, that people do want to listen and they are intrigued by your story?
Some people are, for sure. I mean, when we were coming here the other day, coming through security in Toronto, there was a Sikh security guard, and he stopped us both, and he recognized us.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's nice that it means the video is getting out there, the promo is getting out there, and people are seeing it.
Yeah.
But you know, inspiring others is, I think, really the example that, you know, Guru Nanak and all the gurus. I mean, look at their lives. It was really about living it, and, you know, getting people on that path and getting them, you know, to really, you know, work on the purpose of their lives. So if we have some little tiny, you know, piece of that, then that's a great blessing for us, and, you know, we're more than happy to help them do that.
So for those people at home who are either sort of on the verge of getting into Sikhi, or that think about it but aren't sure about Sikhi, what message would you give to them? What would you say from your personal experience, from your own sort of hearts? What would you tell them to do, or even try to do, to get more into Sikhi? What would you say?
I think for the members of the audience that are Sikhs, I would say it's important for every person just to step back and assess your life and say, you know, this is the faith that I believe in. This is, you know, my Granth. This is what I believe. What progress have I made towards what Guruji has asked me to do? So how close am I to meeting Waheguru? What progress have I made? What have I been doing? What have I not been doing? So it's important to self-assess and you know, and then take steps to improve.
Yeah.
For people that are not in Sikhi, I can see and understand completely that there's an element of, you know, just confusion because none of it may make sense. They're new concepts. But the idea that if you have a love for Waheguru, the idea that you can meet him while you're alive has to be motivation enough for you to take a step and just try.
Yeah.
So just, you know, try to understand it, ask questions, just make the effort. And of course, you know,
Yeah.
you just have to try.
Absolutely. What about you, Ken? What would you say?
I would say, you know, regardless, I guess for the people that are not in Sikhi, you know, is that just be open. You know, the teachings and the ideals that are given in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji are actually for the whole world.
Yeah.
And, you know, we shouldn't lose sight of that as Sikhs, but more importantly, for people that have never been exposed to it, is just be open to it. So whether it's through a video or a booklet or something online, if you get an opportunity to get a little snippet of that, you know, and get the kind of blessings that we've had where someone kind of told us, you know, this Granth tells you the purpose of your life and how to achieve it, then just listen and you know, embrace it. Come to Gurmani or Granth or any Gurdwara where the Simran being done, just sit and do it and try to learn something and let Waheguru lead you.
Absolutely, a fantastic
big thank you
message.
Gagandeep Kaur ji and Harsimranjeet Singh ji and Paji Suvraj Singh ji and Suraj Singh ji, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਫਾਸਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਸੀ ਜੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨਲ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਇਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜੀ। ਸੋ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਅੱਜ ਵੀਕਐਂਡ ਸੀ, ਸੋ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਸੇਮ ਟਾਈਮ ਸੇਮ ਪਲੇਸ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ। ਸਾਡਾ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹੀ ਉਦੇਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ, ਕੋਈ ਐਸੀ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨਲ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਸਕੇ। ਸੋ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ।
Absolutely. So a very big thank you there for our guests for joining us today, for telling us their story and for giving such inspiring messages. So make sure you do watch the documentary tomorrow at 8 p.m. We do remind you, please do watch it. But it is time for the end of the show. Do join us again on Monday morning for the breakfast show.
जी बिल्कुल जी, मिलांगे दोबारा सोमवार ਨੂੰ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਫਾਸਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਲੈ ਕੇ। ਸੋ ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਲਈ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ, ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Thank you.